making a pizza for dinner. I have this sourdough starter. It still smells sour. I didn't feed it in the last few days, and it's pretty cold because it was down in the ice box, so I'll have to see if I'm going to be able to get this pizza dough to rise at all. If not, I'm basically going to make flatbread pizza. So it's 2 o'clock now. I thought I'd get this started, let it rise, form a nice dough over the course of the day, and then I could cook about 6 or 7 o'clock. This wind, it's quite cold. Have that cold front moving, and it was plus 9 Celsius yesterday. Plus 9 Celsius, and it's dropping down to minus 22 tonight. Probably more like minus 30 something with the wind chill. But the wind is actually coming through every little gap that I don't have chinked yet, so kind of trying to get started here, get the cabin warm enough that I can chink and that it stays warm enough overnight to dry properly. So that's the plan for the day. Wonder if I need flour for anything else. I need to get to the grocery store and pick up some more. That's all I have. 100% whole wheat, organic flour. It's good enough for a pizza for sure. Actually, I gotta feed this sourdough starter while I've got it over here. Just set that lid on top because it needs to be able to breathe and get some, actually leave a little gap even, get some yeast out of the air. And I need to cover this. Perfect. Alright, back to work. Ash from the fireplace. I know I need a new trowel. I just haven't gotten to a hardware store to get something bigger. Can't use the normal pointing trowel like some people are suggesting, because I just have to get that in there and pack it in before I spread it out. I don't know, maybe I'm wrong, but I can't see a different tool for it other than a bigger one. This is my dough. It turned out pretty good. It rose a little bit, but it's more of a flatbread pizza anyway. I'm just going to form it into the pan here. I have some mushrooms, tomato, onion. I ran out of pizza sauce, my own pizza sauce, and tomatoes because I was working on the cabin this summer. I didn't get a very good garden planted, so I didn't have enough tomatoes to preserve them. So I had to buy a can of this pizza sauce. It's okay. I mean, it's like 10% of my sodium in that in a quarter cup of this, so I've got to be careful with that. When I make my own, I don't put much salt in it. If you want to see my recipe for some of my tomatoes, sauces, and stewed tomatoes and stuff like that, I think I've got recipes on there. But anyway, if you go to the link below, take you to the website, and I calculated how many tomato plants I had to grow and how many tomatoes I needed to feed a family of 4. So if you're interested in that, you can check out the link below, like I said, take you to the website, and it gives all the calculations there. Oh, cheese. This is the special stuff. This is a mozzarella that my wife made, and when she makes these, she gets about 4 of these packages. I don't know how much that weighs. It's over a pound for sure of mozzarella cheese. She'll get 4 out of each batch that she makes with, I think, 16 liters of raw milk. It's mozzarella, but so much flavor in that. It's such good cheese. So we'll put that in the freezer. That'll last like 2 years. I'm just going to pile a whole bunch of stuff on here. That's hot. It's going to be really hot. Some dried onions too, extra flavor. I hear that wind out there still. So in case you're wondering why I'm doing moss as well as the clay sand mixture, clay, sand, wood ash, and moss mixture, is that need a thermal break. So if I was just to put the clay on the inside and the outside, and wherever the gaps in the logs are wide enough that that touches, the cold just conducts right through that. There's no R value at all to the cement, basically, what it is, mortar. So the frost just transfers directly through it. So that moss acts as a thermal break in the middle. It does have some insulative properties because there's air inside the fibers. Little air pockets are what give you your insulation value. So if you know, worst case scenario where I don't have the moss, if there's clay and an air barrier between them, then it acts like a double pane window, for example. So very low R value, like in the very low single digits, but at least there's some kind of insulation. You just don't want the clay on the inside and the outside to be touching. So I'm filling in the gaps where it's dried out and starting to fall out, and then I'll put that mortar over top of it. Still here. I don't know why I'm still here, but I'm not sure why you're still here watching. This is long and boring and hard on the wrist, and I know you masons or cabin builders are going to say something about this little trowel, but I just haven't had a chance to get to a hardware store to pick up a new one. Not sure if this is a ASMR sound or nails on chalkboard sound. I don't mind it, actually. I'm not sure what it sounds like to you guys. Thanks for that. All right, judge me for the cheese quantity. In the cabin here, a couple of things that I'm going to do right next now that the chinking is almost done in the cabin. It will be done there tomorrow. And that's to use a little more sauce in there. Get that bench made behind you over on that wall. Then I can push the table over a little bit and have that bench, which is also going to be a bed for guests. What a birds. With some pepper. What else do we have? Garam masala. Oh, the onions are good on there. Dried onions. Dehydrated. Finely ground pepper. Okay, that's it. Construction site, so well, let's just forget that little talk we had about the diet for now. Although it's actually still pretty good. Sourdough bread, it's nothing but whole wheat flour in that. There's just a tiny pinch of salt, and that is it in the bread. So it's literally flour and water. Fermented grains, sourdough. And on top of that I've got mushrooms, onion, tomato, and the cheese is that mozzarella that my wife made from raw milk. Again, if you look up the nutrients in raw milk compared to pasteurized milk, homogenized pasteurized milk, this is from one dairy cow, Dexter cow. Everybody has an opinion about what the proper diet is. Literally, if you go through the comments, complete opposite contradictions to one another. And to be fair, different diets, different ways of eating work for different people. Whatever works for you. And, you know, healthy diet and self-reliant diet might be two different things too. And also the variety and the type of foods you have in your diet are obviously location related, whether that's cultural or just climate related, access to different types of foods. Up here we have a very short growing season, so we tend to eat more meat, for example. morning, by the way. Man, it's a well-made bow. Had that custom made for me. 52 pounds at 28 inches by Don Jackson long ago, like I don't know how old, maybe 12, 22 years ago or something. So smooth. The thing is as straight and true as it was when he made it. Anyway, good place for it up here. You have no idea how many weeks I compile my video footage from the previous week, and I look at it and I wonder if it's worth putting a video together. But this is one of those weeks and one of those tasks in particular that I'm doing this week that just reminds me about our tendency to want to be instantly gratified these days. And this is quite the opposite of instant gratification. Now it makes me wonder how many of our problems are caused by this this instant gratification, this getting basically everything we want or a lot of what we want. Everything, put it this way, there's things that we want that we shouldn't have, we shouldn't even have access to, that we do this day and age. But there's so many things that we wish for that we don't need, and we don't appreciate the things we do have. You know, we want so much, we see so many things we want, we see so many places and so many people doing things that we wish we were doing, that we want all of it. We want to go and do that thing, and we want to do that quickly, and then we want to move on to the next thing. And we end up not appreciating anything, end up not appreciating something that we've attained because we didn't really work all that hard for it. And of course this cabin is the complete opposite of that. I've been working on this essentially since I cut that first trees down, and that balsam fir that you've seen me post in the beginning of the video. I'm not going to show it again because I've used that clip 4 or 5 times. The center, the king post here, is that tree, and then the other tree that was in that clip as well will be the ladder. I'm going to cut it into length and then split it down the middle and then put runners between it, or rungs, to make it a ladder to the loft. So imagine cutting something down or preparing something, you know, it'll end up being a year prior before I actually put it to use. That's the thought that keeps popping in my mind, is about that instant gratification. And I wonder how much the boredom created by getting what we want as soon as we want it, I wonder how much that boredom, that searching for something more, causes sort of a mental illness in us, where we become so bored and unfulfilled that we try to find other things to fill that space, to fill that void. And sometimes that void is filled by addictions, and sometimes it's filled by just a lack of purpose, which leads to anxiety and depression. So I do wonder if we were to return to doing things more manually, slower, if not at, you know, our workplaces, or because our productivity goes down and we can't compete on the world market. I wonder if personally we can do that with our free time. We can start to spend more time and slow down and do things, and do one thing instead of 10 things. how much more happier we'd be if we did that.